Hey, Cowboy Jay Morris. Yo, what's up, no hat wearing Jay Morris? Do your best Dickie Allen impersonation. Oh, sure. Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the new Infant Annihilator album entitled The Battle of Yaldabaoth. Infant Annihilator, the absolutely over-the-top, static, brutal deathcore band, technical deathcore band that was formed in 2012, formed by people that are both English and American. The original lineups changed just a tad, with Aaron Kitcher always being on the drums, and Eddie Pickard always being on the guitars, as well as the bass, but Dan Watson was the original vocalist for their first studio-length album, The Palpable Leprosy of Pollution. Long story short, he left Infant Annihilator, went to Enterprise Earth, and they brought on Dickie Allen to do their vocals, and let me just say, that was probably the best bet they ever did. Coming out with by far one of the most memorable and high-octane metal releases of 2016, definitely one of the best deathcore releases with the Elysian Grandeval Galèriarch. They've said touring's on the table, but for right now, they're just a studio band, and I was curious to see if this new record was going to be able to push them in a direction that was going to give them some longevity, because there's only so long that you can ride on the coattails of just being very over-the-top and very static. They're one of the simultaneously most technically proficient but sometimes one-dimensional bands. Their breakdowns are tuned about as low as you can possibly do. Dickie Allen's vocals are absolutely monstrous with his shrieks and his really deep guttural growls and all the strange acrobatics he does in his lower and higher register, but they do blend a little bit together. A lot of the tracks just seamlessly blend in this cohesive mess. It's almost like a freak show, which I guess is kind of what they want, because I believe Dickie Allen said something along the lines of he wanted them to like be a parody death metal band with that name. They wanted their name to be as ridiculous as their sound. And as a musical affair, what can I say? This album is just kind of building on what their previous album did. There are quite a few more like futuristic riffs that they come through with, such as on one of these single tracks, which was Three Bastards. I covered that in a track review. Which this track in particular almost gives me a little bit of Rings of Saturn vibes, even if it's only a little. Same with the track Swinecologist, another single they released, which that little breakdown riff near the about 2-minute and 50-second mark reminds me of, once again, Rings of Saturn and Within the Ruins. As Infant Annihilator goes and as deathcore goes, the rest of this record, pretty much this entire record, is full to the brim of just static drums, insanely technical guitars, and Dickie Allen's usual strange vocal techniques. But I will applaud Infant Annihilator just a little bit on the fact that there are more dynamics added on this record, like on the two singles, where they do bring in a riff, they do bring in a progression that sets them apart from just being insatiable noise. I feel like one of my main issues with this record is the runtime. 14 tracks, it's 57 minutes, which it's 1 minute less than their previous record, but I think that just comes from the fact that they are kind of running into the issue of familiarity. There's really no track on this record that I can point at and say that it rivals some of the best on Elysian, such as like Unholy Grave Birth and Blasphemian with its double breakdowns and its low, just deep death metal riffs. Across this record, there's not really that many moments where they do tone it down at all, where they do bring it back, which was some of the kind of more dynamic moments on Elysian. A Sacrament and Syncest is probably one of the only moments that I really feel that influence from Elysian, around like, I believe it's the 1 minute and 30-second mark, where it does just get a little chunky and slower and rolling, and I think it pairs with Dickie Allen's vocals really well. Now, I don't want to discredit them by saying that there isn't technicality on this record. This is just Technicality. Sure, it's a lot like Elysian was, and maybe the dynamics are turned down a little bit, but from this record's standpoint as it goes through, it's extremely rip-roaring to listen to. The drums are impossibly fast and mechanical. The guitar riffs can range from just slow, chunky death metal to extremely fast technicality that you'd get in technical deathcore. The bass work, when it pops up, adds this brooding quality, this gloomy quality. And one of the standouts is always going to be Dickie Allen's just insane vocal abilities. Maybe I was wanting a little bit more from Infant Annihilator in the way of evolution or changing. I'm not saying they needed to reinvent their sound entirely, but if they want that longevity, being over the top might not serve them well well in the long run, because I do feel a lot of the moments from Elysian kind of being somewhat recycled, but just tweaked a little, ever so slightly on the Battle of Yaldabaoth. And yes, you get those key moments where they do those futuristic riffs, where they do slow it down a little bit. But for the most part, this is just static in the best way possible. Extremely focused, kind of a method to the madness type of thing, a frenzy. And of course it's going to be one of the best deathcore albums of the year. Deathcore's had an amazing year this year, can we just say that for a second? If you want some extremely chunky, technical deathcore, check this out. If you're a purist for the genre or purist for death metal, you might not get that much out of this because it is extremely groomed and extremely technical, almost to a mechanical level, but it's still just so fun. It's like it's so bad, it's good. And by their standards, it's just as disgusting from a lyrical standpoint. If you've ever seen their music videos, they're very overtly sexual, and that absurdism kind of carries over to this record in spades. But yeah, I'm enjoying this record. What can I say? It's extremely over the top, and it's fun to listen to. Maybe it's not the most dynamic release, especially by Elysian standards, but it's still really punchy and really focused. I'm going to be giving this record a 7.5 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Please stay for the end screen. I'll link some videos that you might be interested in. Have you heard this new Infant Annihilator album, The Battle of Yaldabaoth? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss the record with you. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. It'll help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.